boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. It's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things ready through a common sense lens. And man, we've all kind of known. It was pretty obvious from everybody out there looking from the outside in. If you were an honest person with any kind of common sense out there, obviously bringing Robert Downey Jr. back, bringing the Russo brothers back for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars was obviously a giant Hail Mary. Anybody out there that's willing to be honest knows that since post-Endgame, Marvel has been quite a slump out there. And it's so funny to see because especially when a lot of these studio heads, especially Kevin Feige, with that ego and that narcissism that he's got, that he can't ever admit that what he did was a mistake, that after all the reports we've heard about inside about how toxic Marvel's environment, workplace environment is, about how Kevin Feige is just God's gift to Marvel and how it's all got to be him and anything good obviously had to come from Kevin Feige and it's not anybody else or anything like that. It's all him. Well, of course, you can never actually admit defeat or admit failure when you're that kind of narcissist, when you've got that kind of ego, when you take that much pride in yourself, boys and girls. Well, guess what? As it has been per usual, over the last few years, Marvel fans are smarter than a lot of the headlines and BS propaganda, a lot of the trade magazines, and Kevin Feige himself try pushing. And that is the beauty part about social media out there, because now we can hear from the fans directly. And guess what? They are not hiding their opinions at all, because as you can see over from the headline at boundingintocomics.com, Marvel fans reject Kevin Feige's claim that Dr. Doom replacing Kang unrelated to Jonathon Majors' arrest. Nobody believes this. And yes, we all called bunk on this from the very beginning, right? Kang was not a very likable character. It was not something that a lot of people enjoyed out there. Wasn't somebody that really got a lot of people excited for anything out there. Completely and totally the wrong kind of buildup. I was talking about continuity of the comics. Boy, this really doesn't work out very well with Kang at all, especially if you know his backstory and his history. But at the end of the day, boys and girls, the arrest was just the excuse Kevin Feige used to get rid of an absolutely failure and abysmal plot that caused a massive flop at the box office in Ant-Man 3. And boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, the Marvel fans, as always, are smarter than the studio heads out there have ever given them credit for, and honestly just smarter than the studio heads in general, because they are not believing any of his nonsense spin, and they are letting him know, and their voices are being heard. And that is a beautiful thing to see, boys and girls. So we're taking this article from About It Comics, getting all the juicy details of exactly what Marvel fans have to say about Kevin Feige and his absolute nonsense. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2,100. I think we're sailing towards 22. I think we're sitting at like 2,150, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. What do you think about this? Do you believe Kevin Feige in the trade magazines that it was always the plan to bring in Dr. Doom and not have Kang be the big bad, despite what he had said in the past? Or do you, like the majority of the Marvel fans out there and people with common sense, realize this is complete and total nonsense, complete and total spin, trying to save what is clearly a failing franchise at this point? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check the links in the description as well. All right, from Billy O'Dory over there at Bounding Into Comics. While speaking to journalists in a roundtable interview at the Disney headquarters, at a Disney, that's cushy and posh. The king of the castle invited you into his house. What did they serve for lunch? Filet mignon? Did they fluff your pillow? Yeah, they're not access media at all, are they, boys and girls? Kevin Feige addressed the replacement of Jonathon Majors Kang with Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom as the main villain of the multiverse saga. The Marvel Studios president raised eyebrows after claiming that Jonathon Majors getting arrested for assault wasn't the real reason why Marvel replaced his character. Oh, really? Because you fired James Gunn over some tweets from like a decade before it all got realized. So, you want to blow some more smoke up my behind, Kevin Feige? Boy, I wonder why fans don't trust you. During the press conference via Deadline, Feige stated, "Even before what had happened to Jonathon Majors, we had started to realize that Kang wasn't Thanos." Was that like the Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania disastrous dumpster fire at the box office, or was that the Loki ratings that absolutely tanked and cratered into the toilet, or was all of the backlash from the fans and all of the actual Marvel comic guys knowing completely how much of an abomination and why this would never work, and simply pointed it out to you because, yes, we are very well aware of the fact, and they have pretty much stated it, and they've made it very apparent with some of their storytelling, that yes, they absolutely do see some of those videos. They do see some of these criticisms. They do see a lot of that kind of stuff. Because if not, Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic wouldn't be Hollywood names at this point, where a lot of the insiders know these guys and actually go to them for advice. Trust me, these major studios absolutely are looking at the biggest players in our corner of the internet that disagree and criticize them. So trust me, they're very well aware how actual Marvel fans feel about Kang. Boys and girls, there's only one character that could be that, because he was in the comic for decades and decades. And because of the Fox acquisition, we finally had it. And that's Doctor Doom. We had started talking about Doctor Doom even before we officially pivoted from Kang. Feige would then double down, declaring, "In fact, I had started talking with Robert about this audacious idea before Ant-Man 3 even came out." Sure you did, Kevin Feige. And the only reason I would even believe that statement to be slightly true is because you saw the tracking, because trust me, Marvel has better numbers than we do, and definitely better numbers than the Hollywood Reporter and all the rest of these access media people, right? Kevin Feige probably knew long before any of the trade magazines that movie was going to flop. That would be the only reason that statement might be true. But considering how often Hollywood lies to people out there all of the time, do we need to talk about the production budgets that the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline and all the rest of these organizations run with all the time that are straight from these studios that only turn out to be completely and totally false every single time? Yes. Even without that, would any of you honestly believe this? Does this make any sense whatsoever? No, it doesn't. And that's why the fans are not buying any of it. I think Jonathon Majors did a great job portraying Kang the Conqueror, which may be the most wasted character in the MCU. Hey, there you go. There's a guy right there that liked Kang, and congratulations. I'm glad you enjoyed him. The movie binge, though, says, when the supposedly most menacing variant of all the Kangs gets beat by a third-tier character, hi, Ant-Man, sorry, we like you, but it's true, and a bunch of ants, the entire thing loses credibility. Wrote themselves into a corner on that one. That is right. Kevin Feige, because they cannot see past their own noses, does not have the creative vision to actually pull something off like this and make it work. That's why, trust me, phases 1 through 3, Kevin Feige might have signed off on a lot of things, but he was not the creative control psychopath that he is now. Obviously, we've seen how that worked out. Mr. Blackie Chan says here, when you know they're lying to you, but you still listening. Yep, we still listening, Kevin Feige, but we know we're all glad we're wearing our waders because it is seriously getting deep in here. I'm just glad I wasn't in the room. I'm not exactly the tallest guy out there. I'm not exactly a shorty either, but I still feel like I would have drowned. I definitely would have needed at least my combat boots on. Similarly, the comment section was also damning the Discussing Films post of the news. Is this why they made plans for a completely different Avengers movie than the ones we're currently getting when Ant-Man was coming out? And a huge post-credit scene teasing the Council of Kangs. Come on. Nobody believes this. I mean, yes, there was a million signs. There was a million pieces of marketing. There was all of this kind of stuff that was pushing this, that knew they were leading to this. I mean, we saw the reveals out there. What was it supposed to be? Kang Dynasty, right? That was supposed to be the next big Avengers movies out there. Yeah, where'd that go? Bringing back Junior is a big mistake, says Sir Lon Luck Connery. He's far past his recall date and won't be able to deliver the Manning role as Doom. This will be the final nail in Marvel's coffin. And honestly, it's one of them situations where it is going to be very fascinating to see how Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars does at the box office. Because we just came off of Marvel's Fantastic Four turning out to be a giant, massive flop. It'll be a miracle if that movie cracks $500 million, right? And even then, even if it does, it's still a massive flop. We still know it's a loss, just like Captain America Brave New World was, just like Thunderbolts is. Marvel is 0 for 3 this year as far as flops at the box office, right? And so it's one of them situations where if that ends up holding true, because the excuses that they made up for Captain America and the Marvels and everything else, well, These were all characters from television shows that nobody watched. Oh, so you admitted those shows failed miserably. Okay, fine. Where's your excuse now? The Fantastic Four is something completely fresh, something completely and totally new. They don't. It's because Marvel burnout is real, and the Marvel fans don't trust Kevin Feige or anything he produces anymore because of how many massive disappointments and failures we've had since Endgame. So yeah, Sir Jean-Luc could absolutely be right, boys and girls. Wyatt says, didn't Kevin say Majors was the core of the next saga? Yep, he sure did. If Ant-Man hadn't flopped, his character, would he still say this? No, absolutely not. If Ant-Man had made $600 million, not even 7, 8, or $1 billion. If Ant-Man had made $600 million globally, they absolutely would be going full steam ahead with this, because at that point, $600 million was a home run for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, boys and girls. That's why you announced an Avengers movie about Kang? Exactly, Jack. Exactly. Zick here says, so you wasted like an entire series and multiple movies. Yeah, BS. Yes, exactly. Like literally, wasn't the entire second season of Loki all about Kang, right? So, me thinks you might be BSing Kevin Feige. So you discussed how to get rid of Jonathon Majors. Absolutely. And it's absolutely hilarious. And this is great too, because Reddit users, right? Reddit, boys and girls, home to the cesspool that is the spirit of the age, is what Reddit absolutely is. The place that bans you for anything that does not agree with the current talking points and the current agenda by the spirit of the age, boys and girls. Even Reddit is like nonsense. Nah, I think this is rubbish. Read from the popular Marvel Studios thread. He featured in Loki Season 1 finale, Ant-Man, including a post-credit scene, which I thought was pretty chilling and well done, and Loki Season 2. He was clearly going to be the big bad for this phase. Maybe RDJ as Doom was a plan at some point further in the future post-Kang, but they would have gone through with Kang beforehand had the legal issues not come up. Absolutely, 100%. Also, the fact that the movie flopped at the box office, but this guy probably doesn't want to admit to that at all. Robert Downey Jr.'s return as Dr. Doom wasn't announced until July 28th, 2024 at the San Diego Comic-Con. That was over a year after Jonathon Majors was arrested. Jonathon Majors' legal trouble, on the other hand, escalated just over 1 month after the release of Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania. The film's mid-credit scene remains the sticking point for most audiences, setting up Kang to be the new main threat, something Marvel would have been less likely to do had Feige already been in talks with the former Iron Man actor. And 100%, we have heard this time and time again from showrunners, from writers, from producers, from directors, over and over and over again. Kevin Feige has even admitted that he watches every single project 5 or 6 times before it gets released because he's so overly critical with this garbage and continues to send notes back over and over and over again. There is no way Kevin Feige would have allowed this post-credit scene if Dr. Doom was the plan all along. He's a liar, just like he always has been, just like a lot of these other Hollywood studio heads are, and he's just trying to cover his own butt and save face while literally all of Marvel burns down around him. I mean, they have lost billions of dollars over the last few years between television shows and movies. They haven't had one thing that's been completely and totally beyond a shadow of a doubt profitable from Marvel since Deadpool and Wolverine. Wakanda forever. Go watch our video over that one as to why that production budget is absolute BS and why that movie still flopped, boys and girls. This is the state of things, and Kevin Feige is trying to run interference and try to make it look like he knows what he's doing when clearly all the fans know this is BS, is a smokescreen and complete and total nonsense out there, boys and girls. Another user also dismissed Kevin Feige's claim that Marvel's hierarchy realized Kang couldn't be as big as Thanos, decrying, this is ridiculous. Thanos was as big as Kang before the MCU, so that makes no sense. I don't doubt that the flop of Ant-Man 3 was a major reason for scrapping the character instead of just recasting him. But this is just ridiculous. And it just goes on and on and on and on. The decision to transition from Kang to Doctor Doom was rushed, though leaving insufficient time to build up Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom as a villain. And that's 100% right. That's one of the biggest complaints everybody's having. And I think that's one of the major things that is going to end up being an issue with Avengers Doomsday and actually getting fans to show up to the box office and go and see it. Because with Thanos, we had, a decades practically worth of movies all building up to him being the major big bad for Infinity War and Endgame. And what did we get? What have we gotten with Doctor Doom? One very small post-credit scene at the end of a movie that's flopped at the box office. Fantastic Four First Steps. Where's your buildup? No one, the only thing that's going to people get excited is because Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. And that excitement's only going to do so much. Because as we saw with Fantastic Four, the hardcore crazy Marvel fans will show up. Them and the reviewers will show up opening weekend. They will go see the previews to get their stuff done and read it and watch it and go see it. After that, they're done. They don't go back for seconds. They don't go, it just continues to go downhill, downhill, downhill. Why would we expect anything from Avengers Doomsday at this point either? Why would we expect this any different at all? Most MCU fans who aren't conversant with the comics are therefore more familiar with Majors Kang than Doctor Doom. So many don't know just how dangerous he could be. And that's a fair point too. And that's the problem with not having any lead up. We don't really if you're not familiar with the comics or you've never watched any of the animated series and your only experience of Marvel and as a Marvel fan is the movies, which that's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Although I do highly recommend going back and reading some of those comics. If you like the movies, I think you're going to love the comics even more. Golden Age, Silver Age, Ditko, Stan Lee, Kirby, those guys. Nothing past 2000, okay? Don't do that to yourself. Just trust me, okay? But it's one of them situations where you guys, those people aren't going to know who Doom is. They're not going to have any reason to go, oh no, Doom. Whereas we've literally had Thanos from if I want something done right, I'll have to do it myself. We saw all the stuff with Loki and everything else and early on. And so you have none of that now. You have none of that with Doom. So yes, Kevin Feige is completely and totally BSing. He is completely and totally trying to blow up a smoke screen, trying to hide from the fact that his creative decisions, his choices, his directions of the Marvel Cinematic Universe have driven it into practically bankruptcy. They have lost billions of dollars over the last few years. Kang was a poor decision, was a bad idea from the get-go. The Marvel fans rejected it. Ant-Man absolutely flopped at the box office, and Loki Season 2's ratings were worse than Season 1. Nobody wanted on this. It was a failed, miserable decision directly from Kevin Feige, and now he is trying to cover his butt. But guess what? Marvel fans are smarter than you and certainly can see past your nonsense BS. I don't care how many of these access media folks you pull into your office and you show them a good time and they go out there and spew all your nonsense and run cover for you. Because at the end of the day, they do not decide box offices. The fans do. And the fans know you're full of it, Kevin Feige. The Kang was always the plan. Robert Downey Jr. is 100% a Hail Mary. The only real question is, are there enough fans still willing to give you a shot? Or is Avengers Doomsday going to end up exactly like Fantastic Four and be doomed at the box office? It's only a matter of time before we find out. And after all, fans decide, ladies and gentlemen. A big shout out to all of our subscribers and members out there. Thanks for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe if you have not already.